Recently, a ferocious herd of wild boars has appeared right in residential areas, causing chaos and endangering the safety of the people. They are aggressive and destructive, rampaging through properties and even attacking humans. This situation cannot continue, so a team of professional hunters has taken action. Can we stop these wild beasts in time? Watch now to witness this intense confrontation. Wild boars are formidable creatures with high adaptability and a strong survival instinct. When their numbers grow uncontrollably, they spill onto streets, penetrate deep into residential areas, and create numerous threats. Not only do they destroy crops and ravage farmland, causing heavy losses to farmers, but they also attack livestock and even threaten human lives. The situation not only disrupts daily life, but also poses a major challenge in controlling and managing these wild animals. In the dead of night, we set out, weapons in hand, determined to eliminate this threat. In a nearby field, the wild boar herd roamed freely, digging up the soil in search of food, completely unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. Waiting for the perfect moment, locked onto our targets, and pulled the trigger. Panic erupted among the herd as they scattered in all directions. One by one, they fell under a relentless barrage of gunfire. This high-stakes pursuit demanded precision and skill, showcasing our expertise in hunting. This was not just a battle for survival, but a mission to restore peace and safety for the community. Night hunting for wild boars is an extreme challenge. The lack of light limits visibility, but we have the advantage of infrared scopes and thermal imaging. Most importantly, precision shooting is crucial. A well-placed shot can take down the target instantly, but a single mistake could turn us from hunters into the hunted in the dangerous darkness. Wild boars possess an incredibly sharp sense of smell. Just a faint scent of us carried by the wind could send the entire herd into a frenzy. That's why we must maintain absolute silence and position ourselves downwind to avoid detection. Nighttime is when wild boars are most active, roaming in herds to devastate farmlands. Although their night vision is not the best, they navigate skillfully using their acute sense of smell and exceptional hearing. Even the slightest sound or an unfamiliar scent can put them on high alert. Moving in groups also helps them stay oriented and protect one another. But tonight, luck is not on their side. We locked our sights onto our targets and pulled the trigger, taking down these destructive creatures without hesitation. As dawn broke, we left the residential area and ventured deep into the vast hills. This was the true stronghold of the wild boars, where they thrive and multiply rapidly. We scanned the landscape. And then, there it was, a massive, muscular wild boar leisurely making its way down the hill. The tension in the air was palpable. I squeezed the trigger without hesitation. Gunfire echoed through the hills, breaking the silence. Our persistence and determination finally paid off, bringing us a well-earned victory. Wild boars may outrun hunting dogs, but against seasoned hunters like us, they stand no chance. They sprinted at full speed, desperately trying to escape. But unfortunately for them, we had anticipated their every move. The hunt has come to an end, and the invading wild boar herd has finally been contained. However, the threat of wild boars is far from over. More hunts will inevitably follow. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling hunts ahead.
I took down my first wild hog right here in this forest 14 years ago. Back then, I was using my father's old rifle, hands trembling, missing the first 2 shots. And yet today, I'm back in the same place. But the gear has changed. My experience has deepened. But the thrill of stepping into the woods, that stays exactly the same. The heavy rain 3 days ago had turned many forest roads into sticky mud bogs, but we had anticipated that, so the team moved in using a swamp buggy. While on the buggy, we took the chance to discuss strategy. The wind was blowing from the southeast, and in just about an hour, it could shift as the sun rose higher. Luckily, within the first 15 minutes, our target appeared. Nathaniel signaled to stop the vehicle, then calmly raised his rifle. The hog was only about 15 meters away, not a problem for him. A single, clean shot rang out. The target went down instantly. Right after that opening shot, we split up according to plan. I looped around downwind, taking cover behind a dense thicket that gave me a clear view ahead without revealing my position. The team formed a half-moon formation, closing in on a group of hogs peacefully foraging ahead of us. I raised my gun and squeezed the trigger. The hog dropped on the spot. About an hour later, we arrived at the trap site we'd set up the day before, a low-lying area thick with grass and shrubs, perfect for hogs to stop and feed. Just as we predicted, they were there. From a rocky outcrop overlooking the site, we saw the hogs nosing around the trap, unaware they were in our sights. A loud crack shattered the stillness. The spotted hog screamed, then quickly went limp. Just 10 minutes later, we reached the next ridge. As soon as we arrived, Nathaniel spotted a target. I sprinted to the opposite side to set up a blocking position. Bolted downhill, funneled into a narrow slope. One clean shot, my bullet struck the shoulder. On our way back down the mountain, I unexpectedly spotted another hog. A dark blur shot across the trail. So fast, I didn't even have time to react. After a successful hunt, we returned with the spoils piled on the vehicle. The meat was divided into smaller portions. The shoulder and ribs were set aside for a morning barbecue in the garden. That's the end of the video. What did you think of today's hunt? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow our next intense chase. Shoot him. The quiet countryside of South Alabama has been haunted by gunfire in recent years. It's farmers chasing wild hogs away from their farms and keeping their numbers in check. They destroy crops, ravage fields, chew up irrigation systems, and sometimes even attack livestock. Many times, standing amid the mounds of earth that have been dug up, rows of corn that have collapsed as if they've been crushed by a tractor, I felt a bitterness that chokes me to the core. I knew that if we didn't take action, the wild boars would cost us everything we owned. So I and the farmers in the area formed a wild boar hunting team and hunted wild boars every week. Today, like the previous hunts, we gathered at the edge of the forest. We split into groups and patrolled in different directions. Accompanying me were Rick and Clayton, my close friends and quite experienced in hunting wild boar. Suddenly, we heard a rustling sound. A big fat wild boar appeared. The wild boar seemed to feel no danger. It slowly walked and wallowed in the puddle. I held my breath, aiming and hitting its vulnerable spot. A loud explosion rang out, as if tearing the silence of the forest apart. The wild boar collapsed instantly. The sound of dogs barking echoed in the bushes. We knew that something was coming. Oh my God, be careful. Rick quickly raised his gun and fired. We were still shaking, our hearts pounding like drums, because this crazy boar almost attacked us. Wild boars are very aggressive. They can attack hunters if they feel dangerous. Therefore, we need to keep a safe distance to avoid being attacked by them. The safe distance to shoot wild boars should be applied at over 100 meters if at close range. We also need to have quick reflexes to deal with wild boars in all situations. At noon, while we were resting, we heard a series of strange noises coming from the east. As we focused our attention, a wild boar appeared behind a mound of earth. Rick gave the signal to shoot, and we quickly raised our guns. After a few gunshots, the wild boar was completely defeated. After harvesting the wild pigs, we continued moving deeper into the mountains. The canyons in Alabama have a higher density of trees, creating favorable conditions for wild pigs to breed and thrive. In the deep mountains of Alabama, the sound of owls and frogs creates a strange harmony and natural atmosphere of the wilderness that you cannot feel in the city. The hunting dogs are still constantly searching for wild boar shelters. From the drone, we can observe the location and number of a herd of wild boars. The wild boars were exhausted from being chased by hunting dogs, so we aimed at tricky positions and successfully took down quite a few wild boars. In the afternoon, we moved to the cattle pasture and prepared to finish the hunt. Clayton suggested setting up an ambush there to see if we could catch any more wild boars. After only about 30 minutes of searching, we discovered large wild boars running across the field. Wild boars love to dig up the soil in areas where cattle are grazing. Their digging activities also inadvertently reduce the grazing area for cattle, causing damage to farmers like us. So, exterminating wild boars is the most feasible measure we need to take. It may be a long battle, but we will fight to the end to protect our crops. Today's video ends here. How do you feel today? Please comment below to let us know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. I never imagined that one day I would set foot in the Brandenburg region of eastern Germany to follow professional hunters in pursuit of wild boars that were destroying crops. This is not simply a recreational hunt, but a necessary task to protect the habitat and safety of the countryside in the region. If left unchecked, this destructive invasive species could grow into the millions and make life miserable for all German farmers. The trip started early in the morning. The autumn weather was still chilly. Dozens of hunters were present at the assembly point to assign tasks. The group divided into small groups, each group in charge of a different area. Just moving on the road to the hunting spot, we discovered a rather large wild boar. It must have been here since early morning to feed. Heinz, with his vast experience, brought it down with an accurate shot. Continuing up the hill, Heinz gave a slight signal to stop. A small rustling sound was heard, and then I saw a full-grown boar, not just one, but a whole herd. Martin raised his gun and gestured for readiness. In a split second, the shot rang out, the largest boar fell, and the others scattered. We continued to move and look for traces of wild boar. On the way, Mr. Heinz told me about the situation of wild boar in the area. They can destroy acres of corn and rye in a season. So these hunts are to protect the farmer's property. Heinz carefully observed every movement of the wild boar in the bushes. When one appeared in his sights, he would signal us to shoot. With the guidance of the experienced hunter, we learned a lot. Heinz also said that in hunting, priority should be given to adult wild boars, as they are extremely destructive. We chose a high position with good visibility and could observe every movement of the wild boars. With this favorable position, we could easily shoot down the wild boars if they appeared. Focus, the wild boar is very close to us, Heinz said after listening carefully. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge wild boar rushed out, pursued by hunting dogs. Without thinking, Martin and I opened fire, and the shot brought the wild boar down immediately. Be careful, because wild boars can attack us in any situation, especially when they are panicking. Heinz's words were deeply imprinted in my mind as a warning to let me know how dangerous wild boars are. In the afternoon, we would coordinate our hunting tactics with the dogs working together to herd the wild boars, forcing them to run towards the gunmen who were waiting in ambush. My heart beat fast as I heard dogs barking, wild boars jumping out of the bushes, gunshots rang out, and the giant boar fell. The scene lasted less than a minute, but was enough to shock me. The hunting dogs herded quite a number of wild boars. We were surprised and did not expect there to be so many. The number of wild boars was so large that we shot them nonstop, resulting in dozens of them being killed. Despite their speed, wild boars are not immune to being killed. The pigs are collected and transported back to the village, where they are sold to local processors. Wild boars are considered a delicacy in Germany in some regions. Our wild boar hunting trip in Germany has come to an end. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos,